I questioned for a while whether or not it was gonna work out for me. I really wanted to do this, but I wasn't really sure how to do it. I kind of had to really sit down and have a thought to myself and be like, is this something that I really can do? Or is it something that I want? I really did. So I just decided I'm just gonna do it for me. I'm gonna do what I enjoy. I'm gonna film my friends, film my family, make short films, and just see what happens. Because at the end of the day, if I'm enjoying it, then that's all that mattered to me.
Hi, and welcome to the Your Story Studios podcast, a podcast where we talk about all things content creation. And today on the show, I'm joined by someone who needs absolutely no introduction. But for those who may not know you, who are you and what are you doing here?
Well, my name's Emel. I'm a DOP at the Jasper Picture Company, and I'm here to talk a little bit about my journey so far in my career. A lot of what we do is corporates and non-for-profits. We do a lot of education and training. I'm kind of driving around a lot of businesses and doing business videos as well. So it's a bit of a variety. We do a bit of everything.
Awesome. So, Emel, how did you start in video production?
My start was a bit of an unsure one. I went to uni not really knowing what I wanted to do, but I always enjoyed media at school and I loved watching movies when I was younger. I'm sure everyone did. Kind of went in knowing that I wanted to do something that was something that I had fun with. I did not want to be tied to a desk job. I didn't want to be doing anything that I was going to be like, got to get up and go to work again. Like I actually want to be excited to go. So I thought I'd figure it out if I just followed my passion. And I studied a Bachelor of Arts, Media, Screen and Sound, Cinema, Screen and Sound at Trobe University. So we watched a lot of movies and we analysed them and we made short films, docos, all that kind of stuff. And I kind of gravitated more towards the camera. Like people would ask me in their groups, oh, would you film my project? Or would you do this? Or would you do that? And I was like, yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. And I really enjoyed that process as well. I liked making stuff look good. I liked making sure the camera movement was fun and everything was really engaging. I took a lot of pride in my work. And through that, I figured out that I really wanted to be a camera lady. I never really knew that was going to be an option for me. I never actually considered being a DOP or a cinematographer or something to be a job for anyone, let alone me. But it worked out.
So going from the initial beginnings, how have you progressed in your career?
When I graduated uni, I kind of wanted to give a shot to the freelancing world. I didn't really know how to go about it. My teacher at school, his name was Jasper. So he's a really awesome DOP and he really liked what I did at uni and he kind of kept in touch and showed me, what cameras were for sale and he was like, you should buy this camera or you should try this job or I'll go and assist on his jobs as well. So I bought my first camera because of him. It was a Canon C100. It only shot in 1080, but I was over the moon. I was like, I finally had my first camera. I was filming, my friends dancing. I was just kind of getting a feel for the camera and playing with it and just because I wasn't getting any work. It was really hard for me to get work. I tried reaching out to production companies and getting internships and education opportunities and learning from them, but it was really hard to kind of get my foot in the door. I questioned for a while whether or not it was gonna work out for me. I really wanted to do this, but I wasn't really sure how to do it. So I kind of had to really sit down and have a thought to myself and be like, is this something that I really can do? Or is it something that I want? I really did. So I just decided I'm just going to do it for me. I'm going to do what I enjoy. I'm going to film my friends, film my family, make short films and just see what happens. Because at the end of the day, if I'm enjoying it, then that's all that mattered to me. I did that alongside working at a bar because I needed to have some income at the time. So I was working at a bar and trying to freelance and it still wasn't kind of working, but I knew I wanted to work in that space. And then I got my first real job at Trobe University. I studied there and I ended up back there again.
It's nice when that happens.
Yeah, it was like full circle. So my first job was as a technical officer and I was 22, I think, when I started that job.
What is a technical officer?
Technical officer, so that job was supporting students in the media, screen and sound space. So any kind of cinema or recording or using cameras, recording audio, live streaming, I was supporting them. And it was really weird too because I was in such a similar age, such a similar age to all the students.
Did they respect you?
At the beginning, I got mistaken for a student a lot, which I still probably could. people kind of understood after a while that, okay, she's here to help. And it was weird because I would go into the lectures with a camera. I think it was like a Sony NX5, like a fixed lens zoom camera, and show students how to operate it and like taking them through the menu and, where the record button was and how to frame and how to edit and doing editing tutorials using Adobe Premiere Pro. And it was really strange experience. I was really nervous at first, but I got used to it in the end and it was just fun. And it was really cool to be able to share what I'd learned at uni and, what I'd taught myself and do that again at a tertiary level. I did a few odd jobs while I was working at Trobe University. So I tried to freelance while I was doing that full-time job as well, and I got into some really random shoots. I had a friend at uni who got me onto this pro bull riding. My job for the pro bull riding was to go around on a wireless camera, and I was in the cages with the bulls, so like just on the outside, and they'd call them cowboys, so I'd get them, film the hands, film their faces, they got the hats on, and it'd all be IMAG, so that was a whole experience. And for people who don't know, IMAG is image magnification. So I did a bit of that, and I also did a bit of stuff at Crown Casino for IMAG as well, and also Federation Square. So it was all event IMAG stuff, and that was kind of my whole experience there.
Yeah, a lot of shooting, no editing. They can be good jobs.
Yeah, it was good. I definitely learned a lot about signal flow as well as transmission of video using like Teradex and stuff. So that was a really good experience. After about 3 years working at La Trobe University, I got picked up by Matt, who I'd worked with a few times, and he'd also taught me at uni, and was saying he was growing his business and he wanted another camera operator on the team and he'd love me to do it.
Was that a shock?
I was stoked. I was definitely shocked because I'd worked so hard at trying to get work as well. I've been trying to like get my foot in the door, messaging companies. I was like, please, I'll work for free. And then finally I got a job to actually do what I love, and I was so excited. Like that was my dream come true that day when I got that job offer.
Yeah, so talk me through, what do you do on a weekly basis at the Jasper Picture Company?
Oh, every week is different and every part of the year is different. I think everyone knows that there's kind of like waves throughout the year. Usually on a Monday, we'll start with a meeting. Our producers will run that meeting and we'll talk about what we've got coming up throughout the week. If it's a quieter week, I'm in the warehouse, I'm looking at the gear, I'm maintaining gear, anything that needs repairs, I'll look at that. I'll also be planning for upcoming shoots. That includes the pre-production. We'll do recce's. We can think about shots. I'll do shot lists, that kind of stuff. But some weeks it's really busy, and often more times than not, if it's really busy, we won't get that time to prep much for shoots. So I'll be shooting every day. I think it was a 3-month period at the end of last year where I was shooting every day, including weekends. So I was never in the office anyway. I'd just meet people or the team at shoots. It is pretty wild. There's no real normal day. Everything's different. Every day is different. And my office is all over Victoria, which is really cool.
Yeah. So when you find yourself shooting nearly every day, how do you cope?
You just got to take it a day at a time, I think. I really got to like make sure there's snacks in the car because sometimes I don't know when I'm going to eat or if I'm going to have time to get a proper lunch. But I do enjoy it. I think, the biggest thing is just to focus on the day ahead and making sure that you have gear on you, because a lot of the gear we store at the warehouse. So if I know I have a variety of different shoots during the week, I'll have to prep absolutely everything and make sure it's at my house and ready to go for that week.
And you mentioned that you have, prepping gear and all that kind of stuff. Do you like the gear side of this industry?
I love the gear side of this industry. I reckon if I had money and if I had a need to buy gear, my house would be full. I'd probably have to have a separate room for my own studio and to store gear.
A whole level.
Yeah, that's the dream, right? I shoot on a Sony FX6, and honestly, I think it's an amazing camera. If I were to have my own camera, that would probably be the first option for me to go buy. I really like the internal variable ND. I think especially if you're shooting outside and you're doing an interview outside, the sun's coming in and out of clouds, then you can kind of dial in the ND as you need it.
Do you have it on auto? Because I've got the FX6 as well, and when I'm outside, I've got it dialed in. So it's auto, and I have it set to backlit and normally about 0.75 or one stop overexposed.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good option. I've never tried the auto. I like to kind of have control over the pictures at all times.
I like it to be auto.
Yeah. Oh, I like to be hands-on if I can. But it's worth a try. I actually think I might try that out. Because, yeah, you never know when you want it to be like a little bit brighter or if you want it to be a little bit darker. Sometimes it's a stylized thing for me. So I like to have that control over the picture. Another thing I really like about it is that it's very lightweight body. So if I can, I really like the handheld look, like a little bit of movement in the shots I think is a really nice way to shoot something. And I'd probably opt to use that over like a smaller camera and a gimbal. And that's another way I'd like to use the camera.
Yeah, with the FX6, it's great for handheld. What kind of lenses do you use? Because it doesn't have the inbuilt image stabilization that other mirrorless cameras like the FX3 and all that have. Do you find that to be a problem when you're using the FX6? Do you find it's got micro jitters and the footage isn't as smooth as you'd like it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it is shaky. Look, it is shaky, but you just got to have a steady hand. And if you've got like the right shoulder rig to use it off the shoulder or something like that, it gives it a little bit of stabilization. If you're using it handheld, that's the kind of look you're going to be going for anyway. So if there's a little bit of movement, it's okay. With the lenses, I do like to, if you're going to be handheld, wide is probably best. But there are times when I do use like maybe a 50 millimeter is kind of like the longest I would go in terms of focal length. But I think that looks pretty nice as well.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to be using like a 200 millimeter or something like an 85, like I just put it on sticks.
Yeah, fair enough. I do have a 7200 Sony lens as well, and that has image stabilization or optical OOS or
yeah,
OSS.
it does too, yeah.
Yeah, which is helpful. But I also use a Cine saddle as well when I'm doing handheld shots, and that just makes things so much easier and steadies the shot. So it's actually usable if I want to go longer than like 50 mil.
Yeah, saves your arms a bit too.
And your back.
Yeah, definitely. I've used one before. It's been on my list of things to ask Matt for to buy for the company. Even we've got a easy rig as well. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's not too bad. So yeah, it definitely helps the arms and the stabilization for the camera as well.
Yeah, I've got an easy rig too, and I use that with my gimbal setup. And yeah, that makes shooting for a full day a lot easier as well. And also with your job right now, what would you say is your most favorite part of it?
I think my favorite part of the job is probably filming some really like important stories. Like what I love most about what I do is that I can use my passion, which is filmmaking, and help tell people stories. So we do a lot of videos for, as an example, the Royal Children's Hospital Foundation. And these kids have gone through some crazy things in their lives at such a young age. And, their story is really important to tell. And using, the way that I like to film stuff and to help tell their story, and it's all very emotional. Like you get the parents talking on camera as well about, what their child's been through and everything. Sharing stories that can help other people and help causes and foundations and businesses that could actually make a difference in the world. It's such a rewarding thing to do.
Yeah, great. And looking into the future, Emel, what do you want to see for yourself?
I feel very lucky to be where I am, but obviously I'd love to really try something a little bit bigger. Like I'd really like to dive into a long form narrative, a long form project that I can shoot for a couple of months at a time and just really lose myself in that process and the project. I think that would be an incredible experience. Like I'm 30 now. Like I'm still, I think, quite early in my career. I've got so long to go, and
it's a long time until retirement.
I'm so excited to see what's going to happen in my life. Honestly, I'm really excited. Yeah, it's going well so far.
Yeah, and mainly behind the camera or being a producer as well.
I'd love to just stay behind the camera, honestly. I think that's where I belong.
Well,
this is great, but...
Well, I have noticed, I did see on YouTube that you were in front of the camera and you were doing a video for Atomos. How did you land that gig?
Oh, man. That was such a random thing that happened. I got contacted by Atomos a couple of years ago. They had this... can't remember what the product was now. It was
Ninja Switch?
That's it, the Ninja Switch. So it's like 4 HDMI camera inputs and you can switch The
Great for
camera is live.
podcasts.
Yeah, something like this would be great for that. But they wanted someone to kind of demonstrate the product and talk about the product, and it was all scripted, so it was really easy to do. We have a studio at our workplace, so I invited them to come and use our space, and they came in, set up all their cameras and everything, and I got to work with their team. They've been in contact a couple of times for photos and stuff like that. I've done another gig with them, I think talking about more of the features of the Ninja Switch. That was in their studio, and that was really fun. And also the firmware update for the Ninja 5. They had a firmware update, I think maybe 2 years ago. I talked about the features of the update. But yeah, that was just a happy, fun coincidence thing that happened. I'm not sure how they found me, but
That was my next question. Like, how do I get them to find me so I can do that?
Oh, I have no idea. Honestly, I think the best way to go about it if you wanted to do something like that is just put yourself out there. Like, share your work online, make videos of yourself, post photos of yourself, and especially with those products, because we use a lot of the Atomos products as well. A lot of the bigger projects I'll be recording to the external recorders like the Shogun or the
I think I sold
Ninja
Matt my
5.
Shogun.
Yeah, so they're pretty much a staple in my kit as well. So they probably saw that and were like, okay, she's a Ninja user, she's an Atomos user.
She can be an ambassador.
She can be one of our people. I think they called it the Atomos Academy,
Cool.
which is kind of cool. But yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, great. And to finish off today's episode, Emel, have you got any words of wisdom for our audience?
If I had any advice for anyone wanting to do this sort of thing, I would just say to just do it and stay committed and persistent to it. Like, learn as much as you can, talk to those people who you admire, ask them for advice, reach out, and just make what you love. And, the right people will notice. And, if you work hard enough, you can do anything.
Yeah, and watch podcasts like this.
Yeah, podcasts like this. This is the one to be watching.
Awesome. All right, Mel, thank you very much for joining us on the Your Story Studios podcast.
Thanks, Nathan.